Hi there, it's Sue at Miller's Laboratory. Thanks for stopping by today. I have these Headstart journals all done, and I'm going to show you what they look like before I get them posted or listed in my Etsy shop. But I'm just going to pause here for a second and put in a couple of clips that I made while I was doing the construction, and then I'll come back and flip through. So stay tuned. Hi there. I'm just going to quick show you how I am putting these books back together after they were taken apart. I have a couple of them sitting here, and I have already gone through and selected papers and folded them the way that they're going to be put into the book. They're not in order, or they're not put into signatures yet, but I put them inside the covers just because I did try to choose where I did use colored papers. I tried to match them to the covers, and so I'm trying to keep them together. So here is our spine. I wound up taking the spine off of all of the books. These are in varying condition, but most of them are pretty crunchy, crispy, crackly, and my original intent was to try to keep them on the book and stitch through them, but I think they're just going to crack and break. So I will give you these and we'll talk about that, what you might use them for, but they're not going to go onto the spine of the books at this time. So what I have here is just my two covers. I just go along here and kind of clean this up and cut off any raggedy stuff. Make sure that, yeah, I need to get the scissors on there a little bit more. Make sure there isn't any crackly stuff that's coming off. And just so it's neat. You are going to see some bookboard or chipboard, you know, on that edge. That doesn't bother me. If it bothers you, we'll talk about how you can hide it. But I think it's part of the charm of these books, honestly. So I'm just trimming off a couple of little bits that are a little bit chippy. Okay. And then what I have here is, I only need one. This is going on this is part of the spine. And this is some fabric that it feels like denim to me. It's kind of a really pretty cream color, and it has the heaviness of denim and the texture and everything. I'm sure I must have bought it at some point. I have a big piece of it, but I don't remember. But that's what it seems to be. And I like this fabric for a couple of reasons. The heaviness is going to make it sturdy, but also I can glue on it without the glue seeping through to the other side, which is a real bonus. And then it's just going to hold everything together really sturdy. So, okay. And the color seems to go with all of the books. So I happened to tear this, and it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, a little over 8 inches high, and just shy of 5 inches wide. I just kind of used the spine, added a little bit to it, and then figured how much I needed to overlap. And I cut myself a little template here so that I can space those covers apart the same for each book. So I wrote this. It's just a scrap piece of poster board, but I didn't want to accidentally throw it away, so I wrote myself a note on there. All right, and I'm just lining this up so that it appears to be pretty much centered. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's close. And then what I'm going to be doing is just putting glue. We'll do one side at a time. I'm using tacky glue because that works pretty well for me. I like how thick it is. It stays in place and doesn't slide around once you glue it, and it dries in a nice strong hold. And what I'm doing here is I'm applying the glue fairly close to the edge of the fabric, but I'm trying not to glue the fringy part where it was torn, because I'd like that to be loose. And if I get a little bit of glue on it, it's not really going to hurt anything, but I'm trying not to. And then I'm putting the glue not right up to the cardboard. I can leave a little bit of space there. So if you know tacky glue, it is thick, and it takes a lot of squeezing to do this. But I do want to get a nice even layer on there. So I don't want to skimp. So we're just going to take a moment here and apply this glue in a good thick sort of application. All right, then I'm just going to let that sit for a second, and I'm going to apply just a little bit of glue along the edge of the cover. Now, I am gluing this fabric. Most of the time when I make books, I wrap it to the outside of the book, but because most of these covers have this pretty gold edging on it, I really didn't want to cover that up. So I am going to glue this fabric to the inside of the cover. And that's why I said the edge of that book board where it's kind of raw is going to show a little bit. Okay. All right, so this is just making up for the little space that I left here so that I can glue it all the way up to the edge of that cardboard spacer. And then I'm just going to set that down for a second, and I'm going to spread this evenly across here. And again, just try not to let it goop over onto the fringe. All right. It's kind of a very simple process there. Okay. Then I'm going to take that cover and I'm just going to center it this way and just glue it down right up against the edge of that cardboard spacer or that poster board spacer. If there's a little extra glue top and bottom here, I'm just wiping that off with my nail. The fabric will just be a little stiffer there, but it won't hurt anything. Okay, just kind of press that down a little bit so it stays in place. Then I'm going to go ahead and apply the glue on the other side here too, and I'll speed up the camera so you don't have to watch the whole torturous process here. And notice I'm keeping my glue on its side here because remember I'm doing 11 of these, and it gives you a bit of a head start if you don't have to wait for the glue to go all the way back down to the nozzle after you set it upright. Here's our other cover. Good. And then I'm just going to lift this out, and there we go. So what I do now is just make sure it's pressed good. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to really rub my hands along here to make sure there's really good contact between the fabric and the book cover. Just make any quick little adjustments that if it looks a little bit crooked or stretched in a certain spot, I'll try to just even it out so it looks nice. Okay. All right, and so then I will be later adding a panel down the middle here on the inside that's a little bit stiffer, and then covering that up with something as well. And then we can stitch the pages in. So just wanted to show you how this is coming along. That's what that's going to look like, kinda. And I'll be back soon. Bye. Hi guys, just a quick clip here to show you how I created the spines in these books. The reason I'm showing you all of this is because if you wanted to make your own book, you could see how I did it, or if I don't know how fast my books will sell out of my shop when they're ready, but I just thought if somebody wanted to try it at home, it's not like it's hard or anything. So the first thing I did is I cut a piece of, this is the really light cardboard that is from a shirt box, like when you wrap a gift. So I cut this in just so that it would fit inside that spine area. And then I glued the white side down to a piece of a book page. Okay, I just liked the font on this one, and if you see a little bit of this peeking through when you look into the inside of the book, I thought that would be cute. So I just chose that, and I used tacky glue and glued it right down on there and let that dry. Okay, then I trimmed around the edges, and I also clipped the corners close. Okay, and then the next thing I did was I used my tacky glue again, and I wrapped those edges around. So now this will be on the inside of the book, and this is what the pages will be stitched to. Okay, I found that it was easier to put the glue on, actually to fold the paper first. Let me show you on here. To go ahead and just take your piece and fold it over like this so that the fold is already there. Then I put the glue here and just went like this again to glue it down. And I used my bone folder to make sure that I had a really good adhering all the way around. Okay, so now we have this. Okay, now we're going to reinforce this even more with fabric, and I have some really thin, like lawn or like handkerchief type fabric here. And what I did for this is I used my glue stick, put glue stick all over the right side of this, and glued it down onto the fabric. The glue stick was the best thing to use because it dried clear and it did not seep through the fabric. I didn't want it to do that. I knew this fabric was going to be thin and you were going to see through it, so that's why I chose that book page underneath. And then you guessed it, we're going to put tacky glue along here and spread it, and then we're just going to fold those edges over. So now we have this nice, neat little fabric covered. It's not chipboard, it's thinner than that. It's very bendy, but it's just the right thickness for the spine. Okay, so then the last step here then was to glue that into the center of the book, and you can see this one here, I used a few little binder clips to hold it in place while it dries. Okay, and this one isn't quite dry all the way, but I wanted to show it to you. So the pages will be stitched in here. Okay, and then the book closes. It hinges really nicely with that fabric, and we have a nice spine here. All right, so that's how this is going to be. I've got this one done. I've got to finish the other 10, and then I've got the pages all ready to go, all put into signatures, and as soon as my spines are all in and dry, then I can stitch in the pages. So I will be back with a flip through pretty quick here. All right, I'm going to start off with these two here, and actually I'm going to grab this one first. So you can see the book is got 5 signatures in it, and there is lots and lots of room here for expansion. This is what the books look like when I make them before I stuff them full of stuff. And so your job is going to be putting all the fun things in. That's the point behind these Headstart journals. I'm giving you a base and you're going to do what you want with it. I am going to be making a series of videos. I have made an extra book for myself, and I'm going to do some videos of showing you what I would do or what your different options are for the different kinds of pages and things. So the papers inside are mostly the same. There are some colored pages, and I tried to pick out colors that were in the covers. So something like this might have a few different colors in it, whereas this one is very monotone and it's going to be just mostly greens. Okay, so this one is from winter 1964, and these few pages here that I took from the book, you will get those. I will include those, although they're not in, they haven't been put into the book. And I will also give you the original spine. The spines as I said in a previous video, were very fragile, very cracked, and I really couldn't save them on the book. So what you're going to get here is just a nice clean fabric spine with the stitching on the outside. I suppose if you wanted to, you could glue that on there. There's no reason that you couldn't. So if you really wanted that on there, you could do it that way. All right, set that guy aside here. So we have a page here where I used my scallop tear ruler to do the front and the back. And what I've done is left you options for every page. So this page was too long. I folded the bottom up. It could be made into a pocket if you wanted. It could be made into a flip. We're going to go through all that in the subsequent videos here. This is from opera libretto from the 40s at the Met. This is a little pocket page. This is the most finished thing that I put in the books. And the reason I did that was because my printer kind of had a moment. And when I printed the backs of these pages, it was all messed up. And so I wanted to use the page, but I didn't want the other side to show. So I made it into this nice gusseted pocket. So I'm just kind of flipping. I did show you already the papers that I was planning to use. I did add a few things into, I'll point those out as I go. This one also is the other side of that pocket, and you can put a nice tall tag in there, which is great. This one opens up and it has room to be pockets there. Second signature here, we've got some flipping, just pretty sort of a watercolory page. A check. There's a little short bit here that we'll work with. A flip out here again. Some smaller things inside. I like all different size pages. If you don't like the real small pages, we're going to be talking about what to do with those. This one is folded over, and I just, again, wanted to give you lots of options of how to use these papers. So a lot of the time I didn't cut it down at all. I just folded it and managed to get it in the book, and then we'll figure out what to do with it. This is actually 2 pages here, and this one's kind of funky, but there's a flip here and there's a flip at the top, so you can kind of choose what you want to do with those. Here's an envelope here that hasn't been cut open at all. Nice German text. Okay, that was the second signature. This is the third one. This had this really pretty edge, and I hated to tear it off, so I just folded that little bit up on the bottom. Here's a little accordion spot. This one we'll talk about different options here of what to do with that. There's a paper bag. And then just another small page in the middle there. The other half of that weird page there. Okay, and then we have the last signature. Cookbook page there and an envelope. This is a print of some paste paper, which I kind of think is cool. And then that really pretty caramel colored book page. All right, so that's what you're going to get inside there, okay? And then you can see this is just fabric here and the spine glued in there. Everything is nice and sturdy, okay? So there's a complete flip through of that one. And then I'm just going to show you the other ones, okay? So this beautiful green one here with the sort of tulips on it is from spring 1952. Okay. Let's see what else. This one kind of has this sort of Art Deco kind of cool ivy pattern on it. This little swirly line is just slightly pink. This one is summer 1959. And this cool one is pretty flowers, or it almost reminds me of coral or under the sea. This one is spring 1959. You have this pretty one with the blue flowers, and it's got pretty end paper with butterflies on it, and also this pretty butterfly title page. This is spring 1961. Also a really pretty one here with sort of botanical cover. This one is autumn of 1961. Okay. This one I think would make a really cool travel journal. It's got like sort of like cityscapes, palm trees, a little, like maybe a little guy with a donkey or something, and I just love the graphic sketchiness of it and the color. I think that one is really cool. This one is summer of 1958. Also a really pretty swirly one. This one is kind of dirty on the edges. I will take a baby wipe and kind of clean that up a little bit, but I don't like to do it too much because it'll pull the color off, and I don't want to do that. This one is from spring of 1958. And then I have this pretty one, this blue with a tree and some little red flowers or berries, or they could be little red birds, I think, up in the tree maybe. This one is winter 1958, and it's got the pine tree end paper in it. And then this last one, which is pretty much a green with some gold little flowers or stars on it. And the spine is kind of a light blue color. So I thought that one was pretty too, and this one is from summer of 1961. Okay, so those are the ones that are going to be for sale in my shop. I also just want to show you this one. This is the one I made for myself, and this is going to be my sample one that I make the videos with and give you some ideas. And I picked this one out because actually I thought it was kind of ugly. So this one is from spring of 1971. But so I will be doing my work in this book, and then you guys will be working in those books, whichever one you purchase. Or if you want to make one to do it, you could do that too. All right. So next week, first video on what to do on the inside. It doesn't matter when you purchase the book. You can watch the video anytime. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you soon. Bye.